She's going to get what's coming to her. 3 years ago, my 22 male, sister 15 female, started herself on a downward spiral which has ended with the entire family cutting her off. And now her lies and mistakes are catching up to her, and it's only a matter of time before she wakes up to the nightmare she left in her wake and it all bites her in the ass. 3 years ago when she was 12, I came home to my mother crying in the kitchen. She never does this, so my thought was that my nana had died. Nope, my sister had accused her of, as she put it, historic abuse. Police were called, social workers were brought in, my mother was nearly arrested. The only defense my mother had was me. I still lived at home and told the police I never heard anything while in the house. That same night, I chased her through my city and had the biggest panic attack of my life. Months later, she admitted it was all a lie and she just wanted to get her own way. Since then, every single time she doesn't get her own way or she isn't the center of attention, she pulls the abuse card or she runs away. In that same time, she is self-diagnosed with ADHD and bipolar. She googled what they were and decided that was her excuse. She also called my mother a failure of a parent and instead wanted to live with the father who is a criminal and has never been present in her life by his own choice. 6 months or so ago, she ran out of excuses for my mother. I moved back home for university, and because I had huge positive changes in my life, I took the spotlight off of her. As my punishment, she accused me of sexually assaulting her almost 8 years ago. This of course never worked because the entire family backed me and I had proof that it was all fake. I was in the hospital 90% of the time around that time, doing exams at school, and anytime I was home, my sister was out of town on extracurricular activities. To this day, my sister still tries to run everybody's lives around her. She blames her overweightness on my mother, as well as her scumbag of a father leaving her on my mom too. She sends videos of her self-harming to the entire family and has admitted she does it all for pity and attention. Last night, she said she refused to come home unless she could speak with and stay with her father on weekends. He agreed, so now it's a waiting game for him to inevitably kick her out and cut her off. And she realizes that every person who ever would have supported her now wants absolutely nothing to do with her. My brother doesn't care. My religious nana, who doesn't have a bad bone in her body, called her a little shit. And I wouldn't piss on the kid if she was on fire. She's refused help. She's run the mental health of everybody into the ground to the point my mother has made severe suicidal comments, and now her whole world is about to crumble around her, and I personally cannot wait.
About 2 to 3 weeks ago after making love, my husband and I lied in bed for some afterplay and he told me that it would be awesome to have a threesome. I kept my cool, but he must have noticed that I stiffened in his arms. My heart was yelling, "This can't be happening. This is so over. This is so over." But my mouth said that I don't think this is something that I would ever want to try. I've been avoiding him like a plague ever since, which has been a very hard task because he's a very affectionate man and always wants to touch and hug and kiss. I don't know if he's noticed anything yet because I've been busy with work and the kids, but he's bound to notice soon. I've only told my best friend and confidant about it, but she thinks that I'm being overly sensitive and dramatic. But I swear that I'm not playing or trying hard. I just can't control my heart, especially when it's playing the same tunes as my brain. I want divorce, on repeat every time I see him. She, my best friend, told me that it was just my pride. She said that he asked you and you said no and he respected that. I have 3 small children and we share a beautiful life together. I waited a while and then I talked to my husband again. Only a little bit after him asking me why I'm so absorbed in my phone. I told him that I was thinking about his request and how it has affected me. He said he's noticed me being distant and sad but that he didn't know how to approach me. We talked a little bit more and I asked him if he still wanted a threesome and he answered in the affirmative. So I asked him if he thought about a candidate and he said yes. That she actually was the one who suggested it. He showed me her Instagram. It was all I could do not to freak out and to keep my head cool. I have all the information now and the ball is in my court now, I guess. I said earlier that I was already having flashbacks with him and the faceless woman, and these flashbacks are haunting me. Now the woman has a face. I found out that the woman he had in mind is an ex-coworker. An outspoken Polly who kept being friends with her coworkers from her old job, my husband included. He showed me all of his DMs with her, both in the group chat and in private. There's no affair between them, but she's the one who showed interest in a 3-way with my husband and I because having sex with couples turns her on and she thought that we were hot. I don't think there's emotions involved, like at all. This girl wants a poly boyfriend and my husband only wants to spice things up. Anyway, I'm leaving my husband because I can't control my feelings. He broke me. I'm certainly still not communicating my feelings properly to him, but I'm probably just wired this way. When someone hurts me, I just shut down and shut them out. I have contacted a lawyer, and I have a meeting tomorrow to go through the process in details. Now, for the female, male, female. I'm going to say yes. Mostly because I'm so curious to see what the fuss is all about. Reading the comments yesterday, you guys made it sound like it's what every man dreams of, and I'm intrigued. I want to see the reason that my marriage is over. Does this make sense? I want to know if it's worth ruining my heart. Another thing is that I want to do something nice for him before leaving since he's so excited. My way of saying goodbye. I told him that I'm game and that I wanted it to be over with this weekend. He got excited and tried to kiss me. He didn't notice that I avoided his touch. We spoke to the girl. She thought Saturday is too soon. If we're both first timers, maybe we needed time to meet her first, etc. She's a pro. I gave her that. So we're meeting for drinks on Saturday. Let's not label it, she said. Let's just meet and see how things go from there. As I said, pro. My daughter recently turned 20. She's been dealing with major depressive disorder, social anxiety, anorexia, body dysmorphic disorder, and 2 autoimmune diseases since she was around 12. I'm very involved in her treatment and obviously wanted her to get better. So when her therapist recommended getting her a dog to register as an ESA, we got her one for her 16th birthday named Juniper. I generally dislike animals, but it was for my daughter's sake, so I caved. Junie and my daughter grew close, and I've seen a notable difference in her since we got the dog, especially in her sense of independence and self-esteem. 4 years later, my daughter is now a part-time tutor, volunteers with the elderly, and attends school full-time with excellent grades. I'm so proud of how far she's come, and though I realize she has a ways to go, Junie has helped her and I credit the dog for that immensely. Here's the problem. While my daughter was at school, Junie got out of the house and got hit by a car. My wife and I rushed her into the vet and we were told that Junie would need surgery, which would cost somewhere in the ballpark of $2,000. I make a good salary, but I cannot justify spending that much on a dog, especially when it may not even work and Junie would probably be crippled. Plus, she was pushing 5 years old and her breed usually only lives 9 to 10 years. Due to all these reasons, I decided that the humane and logical decision would be to euthanize Junie. At this point, I called my daughter and let her know the situation and the solution I'd chosen, and she freaked out on me. She tried telling me how she had $700 in savings and would quickly find a job to pay me back the rest, to which I declined because A, it's not about the money, and B, I don't want to risk ruining her mental health by her getting a job, especially since she'd likely have to quit one of her volunteer jobs which have helped her so much. I explained this to her, but she wasn't hearing reason, so I put my foot down and said my decision was final because the dog was technically mine since I paid for it. Then I hung up. We put Junie down, surrendering her with love and gratitude. When we got home, my daughter had just pulled in and was hysterical. I told her that she was too old to be acting like this, and one part of becoming a competent, independent adult was accepting what life throws at you. Now she isn't speaking to me. I'm beginning to think that I should have at least told her where we were so that she could say her goodbyes. On the other hand, Junie already served her purpose in helping my daughter, and she only had the dog for 4 years. So I don't understand the huge overreaction. So am I in the wrong for euthanizing my daughter's emotional support animal for her own sake?
I'm Adasla for wearing our white dress to my sister's wedding. I was invited to my sister's wedding on October 4th. For months, my sister planned her wedding, and about 4 months before the wedding, she let us know the maid of honor, bridesmaids, and all the other guest roles. Well, I was one of her bridesmaids. My sister didn't want to buy all the bridesmaid dresses as she wanted us to contrast and feel comfortable in our dresses. She let us know that the bridesmaids were to wear white dresses. A few weeks later, I went bridesmaid dress shopping. I found this beautiful lace corset right long dress. The dress was expensive, around $1,500, and the boutique had a no return policy unless the dress was broken or ripped. I had my sister even see me in the dress the next day at the boutique. My sister loved it and even said that it was perfect. She insisted that I bought it, so I bought it, and I was the first bridesmaid to get the dress. A week before the wedding comes, I wake up to texts and calls from my sister and family, letting us know that my sister had a talk. I open up the text and it says, change of plans, do not wear the white bridesmaid dress, to buy a new one now. I attended the wedding. I'm at Esselbo telling my wife to stop acting like a brat when she put up a fuss about being in my mom's wedding photos. My mom recently got married. My mom really isn't big into taking pictures, even though there's a photographer. My mom wanted a picture with her kids, just her kids, not our partner. My wife felt that was rude and asked if there would be a big family picture. My mom said no, she only wanted a couple of pictures because she hates taking them and thinks they're a waste of time. I didn't think much of it. I mean, we are her kids, and why can't she have one picture of just us? And my wife said it was bad etiquette and couples are a package deal and asked me not to take the picture. My mom said fine, she didn't want any pictures of anyone but the groom. And I asked why we couldn't just take a picture together with including our partners. My mom said she didn't want to as my wife was being difficult. She told us just to go away and let her take a few pictures with her new husband. As I walked away, I asked if it was necessary. She said my mom is allowed to take pictures with her bio kids, and a package deal doesn't mean joint at the hip. She said she was acting like a brat, making it about her. She stopped speaking.